Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Sunshine Acres. Jason here. I'm glad to be with you guys here today. It's a beautiful day at Sunshine Acres, but it is slightly cloudy, and we're going to be keeping our eye on that as we work through the day. As I hit the record button, I actually felt a small sprinkle just now, which we're not going to run away from that, but we are going to be up in the wood yard, which you saw in the intro. So we've got that area cleaned up now, and we're going to be up there finishing up this white oak cooking wood pile. And the reason I'm a little scared of the rain is I don't want to mess up the wood yard. Everything looks, you saw in the drone footage, everything looks nice and clean. So I'm going to do everything I can not to mess that up. So what we're going to be getting into today is back to this white oak cooking wood pile. And to fit in the kiln when it comes, we're going to get up to 65 inches. Right now we're sitting right about 40 inches where this pile's at. And so to get that last, let's call it 25 inches, we are gonna do 5 layers, or actually 10, and eliminate, I'm probably not explaining this correctly, but I wanna eliminate the stickers and instead use these 2x2s run in each direction. I think that'll be enough airflow and eliminate the work of making stickers. So I think this is a good test run. So once we get that in the kiln, I think it'll be fun to look at the moisture content between those that were stickered with 1x1s, or if we just use the material itself. So I think we'll get more finished product out of just using the 2x2s crisscrossed. And here we go with another airplane, so I'll let that guy go by. All right, that same guy keeps circling around here. I don't know if he's just practicing or maybe he thinks we're growing some ganja out here or something. No ganja here at Sunshine Acres. We're just getting on the sawmill. So back to the calculations here. So each run, we've got 15 pieces of white oak, 2x2. They're 4 feet long. And like I said, we want to get that up to 65 inches. So I'm going to do a total 10 more layers of this, 15 pieces a piece for each row. So that's a total of 150 4-foot long 2x2 white oak pieces. I'll take you up in the wood yard, but right now we've got 3 logs up there that we're gonna cut and see what we can get out of it. And I think it's gonna be close. If not, I think I've got a couple more white oaks in a pile and we'll pull those guys out. So come along, we're gonna see how long this takes. I don't know. And before we get going, I always forget something. I don't know if the plane distracts me or if I get nervous or excited starting the video, but it seems like I always get going and then, oh, I was supposed to talk about this. So once we do get this up to 65 inches, we want to stabilize it at that point, and then we'll move it up in the wood yard and cover it. But what I've got here is just, it's a nylon banding system. I mean, just real basic. I want to wrap this in a couple locations. This guy will ratchet it tight. And then we've got some little clips and a crimper. We'll show you all that. Yeah, I think for these piles, I think that nylon banding is going to be okay. If you remember, this has been, gosh, it's probably almost 2 years ago now. We did our sawmill road trip videos up to our buddy Steve's place in West Virginia. I was talking to him the other day, and he's been banding everything that if you remember, he's got this exact same timberking mill that we do. And we're talking about banding product coming off the mill, and he's doing thicker oak boards, I mean big stuff, and he said he tried the nylon bands, did not work very well for that bigger material. So I think when we get into bigger material, we probably need to go to the metal bands. But I think for this little cooking wood pallets, I think these nylon bands will work, so that's an experiment. So we'll try that. Stay tuned to the end of the video so you can see that. But here we go, come on. All right, so we are up here in the wood yard, and you can see we've got one white oak log here, and you can see those 2 guys back there. I'll take you back there in a second. This first guy, obviously, is too long to even get into our sawmill structure here. Call it just over 22 feet. So we make that first, excuse me, with the tape. We make this first cut. Our process of doing these is we want to ultimately be in 4-foot increments, or I'm going 4 foot plus 6 inches, and get a decent piece on the other side. So if we're 22 feet, obviously we're not going to get to that 24.6. We could come down to 20 foot 6 inches, but that's really long on the mill. I kind of like, especially these smaller logs. Let's go ahead and cut that not in half directly, but we'll find that 4 foot plus 6 inch increment and have 2 smaller pieces. And with these smaller logs, that allows me to recenter and probably get a little more material out than if you try to cut the whole length, because we're not slabbing these, we're not trying to get lumber. I mean, at the end of the day, all we need is 2 inch by 2 inch chunks. So that being said, I'm going to bring this guy down to 12 foot 6 from the large butt end and make that cut. So we'll have 12 foot 6 section that we cut first, and then whatever's left over. So that's how that one's going to work. And now let me show you these other two. So with these guys, we've got 2 different scenarios. This longer one here is basically the same scenario that we looked at with the first one. It looks pretty clean the whole way through. I'll go to the large end. I'm going to come this way, cut 12 foot 6. Whatever we have left over, we have left over. On this smaller, shorter one, I should say, it's actually fatter but shorter, we've got a huge split in the top when it was taken down. So there's plenty of good material to get out of that, but for putting it on the sawmill purposes, I'm actually going to measure off the narrowest end, or the I don't know what that's called, the non-butt end of the log. And it's shorter, so we don't want to go 12 foot 6. Let me remeasure. 12 foot 6 is going to put me into that crack, which I don't want to be in. So I'm going to back this guy down to 8 foot 6 on this one. And then whatever we have left, we'll see how that log looks, but it may actually split in half and cut both pieces up. So we're going to make 2 12 foot 6 cuts, 1 8 foot 6 cut on these 3 logs. It'll be a total of 6 pieces that go on the mill, and mill them down to 2 inch. Okay, so before we start processing these, you can obviously see the waves that came in off the mill, and I saw this while it was happening. I think part of it's how I have the butt end closest to the cutting head. I need to make sure that is on the mill correctly, and then 2, I just need a new blade. So I'm gonna clean these up the best I can. We'll put a new blade on. Hopefully the next one goes better. Grand scheme of things, this is not a huge deal for what we're doing, but if we were trying to make lumber out of this, that would be absolutely awful. This would be trashed, and so I need to get that figured out, but we'll clean them up. All right, we're back. It's day 2 of this video. We got absolutely dumped on yesterday afternoon, which we kind of expected. We talked about that at the beginning of the video, but it came, and the unfortunate thing is we were supposed to get, Mr. Kyle was supposed to come out today and just finish up a couple little spots. I'll show you when we get up in the wood yard, but so it's too wet up there. So we're not gonna run any equipment today up there. Mr. Kyle's not gonna come. Maybe we'll get him out here tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get equipment out in the wood yard tomorrow. But what we can do today is finish stacking what we have, and I've got 1 log on the mill, and the goal is to get rid of our little wavy issue. That is for what we're doing here. I mean, this is cooking wood. This will ultimately get cut into like 12 foot, come on, 12 inch sections, and maybe even split further depending on what customers want. So for what we're doing, it doesn't kill anything, but it's not how you want to be producing lumber off the mill. So hopefully we'll get that fixed today. So you can see I'm putting these last couple pieces on from yesterday. So to finish this pallet off, we needed 10 runs, and we've got, you can see the new versus the old. So we'll get basically three of the 10 out of this one log. I do have one other log on the mill, and what we want to use today for it, since we're not going to get equipment up there, is to hopefully get a new blade on there. And Miss Karen and I were talking yesterday. The first thing that she said was, "It sounds like your blade wasn't tight enough." I was like, and I remember as I left the mill, shutting it down, we went from 1200 psi to 1000. I'm not experienced enough to know if that's enough to make that big of a difference, but it certainly kind of made sense because it is very consistent up and down. So we're gonna put a new blade on, we're gonna watch our tension, and I do have one on the mill, so we'll go ahead and get that guy cut and at least hopefully get the mill worked out, and then tomorrow hopefully get this guy finished. Okay, so yeah, we're up here at wood yard, and we are right outside the utility building. And this is our big low spot here, and everything seems to be draining pretty well. This is where the kiln's gonna go. So the spot right behind me I just showed you, and the kiln spot, we need to dress those up a little bit. You can see it's a little bit wet today. But yeah, I got a fresh blade on there, got this log, focus, there we go. Got this log on the mill, got it tensioned, blade wipers all set up, looking good. So let's, hopefully this will go better today. Okay, much better than yesterday between the combination of getting a new blade on there, and I really do think it may have been that the tension on it. Everything rode smooth today, nice and clean. Really like that. So sun's coming out now too, so I thought this was going to be all we're going to be able to get done today, but I was outside of the exception. You saw me dump that the cant over this side of the mill, which we're not even supposed to be offloading off this side of the mill, but it is just so convenient to do so. But so that was another kind of rookie mistake there. But outside of doing that, yeah, this went really well. But in doing that, I had to get the grapple tractor out. It tracked up a little bit, but not too bad. So I think we'll get the gator up here, grab this stuff, go down to the shop, process this log, and go from there. Probably keep going. But yeah, very, very happy with that. Holy smokes, much better today. That was a very pleasurable experience compared to yesterday. Yeah, everything cut really nice. Didn't have to resaw anything. I bet you yesterday I probably spent at least an hour resawing all that curvy stuff. I mean, that's just wasted time. I mean, you got to eliminate that kind of stuff. But everything today looks really good. We're getting a bunch of offcuts too for some future projects, as well as cutting stickers. So we just keep building our inventory up. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna film much more of the rest unless we run into something. I'll get y'all up to speed, but it's just more of the same. We're gonna get this pile up. We are already at 4 rows. This is the start of number 5. So we're almost halfway. You know, we need 10 rows total before we band this thing up. But if it goes like it did this morning, this is gonna, I may be able to get this done today if things go well. But probably into tomorrow, but hopefully. Let's get this thing done. All right, so that's it. We're up to, it's almost 64 inches. So 65 was the magic number. We want to stay underneath that so it'll fit inside the kiln. At the beginning of this video, I talked about 10 courses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 courses. For whatever reason in my head, I was doing like 5 inches, you know, for 2 courses, and it should be, it's less than that. It's only 2-inch pieces, obviously, so it's 4 inches. So need a couple more on that, but this is it. I think you can also see a little bit. I was back and forth, and I'm not sure why I settled at 50 inches on the first part of this in one direction, but I started making both of them both directions 50 inches. I mean, I know why, because when you can get 1 foot increments and still have room for some saw cuts. But as far as what's going to fit in the kiln, I think we'll modify what we do next time, which that's fine. But so the last thing we need to do here is just strap this guy down, and then we have our first bundle of cooking wood ready for the kiln when that gets here. So let's get that strap on, and then we'll finish this guy up. All right, finally, one bundle is ready for the kiln as far as cooking wood goes. So we've got a full bundle here of white oak cooking wood. We did make the transition in a previous video. You see us do the bottom where we use stickers, and then we switch to the top instead of using stickers to just use the 2x2s and go both directions with it. I hope that works, because cutting stickers is a big time consuming thing, and it'd be nice to not have to do this for this portion of the lumber that we create. I like the bands. I think that works well. The one thing moving forward, we talked quickly about the size getting off a little bit, and I changed dimensions as we kind of moved up. I don't know if you can tell a little bit here, mushrooms out at the top a little bit. I think for this first bundle, that's fine. As we move forward, we want to be more surgical and repeatable, I guess is the best way to put that. And I think we want to go, and it's just hard without the kiln being here, but you know, the information that we have is we can go 65 inches wide and 65 inches tall. That's fine, but getting it on a pallet and keeping the consistency so everything's nice and straight on the ends, I think is going to be a little bit difficult. Maybe we can build a jig or something to help that. So we may want to give ourselves a little wiggle room and be less than that, 60 inches, something like that. But then in the opposite direction, we've only got 17 feet, you know, across the kiln. So that we need a little gap in between. If we're doing bundles like this, 4 gaps. If we do it at 4 feet, obviously at 16 feet leaves us 1 foot of play between 4 of these guys. I don't know if that's going to play or not, but anyway, happy with this. We'll get started on the next ones. We do have a little bit of white oak left off the logs that we cut, so we'll start the next pallet of those. We've got some hickory logs up there that we can start a pallet of that. But I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your friends, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.